So y'all know how for a very, very long time we've wanted Pokemon to give us an open world gaming experience, and they just haven't yet delivered.
They did.
A true open Pokemon experience that's not laggy and has like real good content that we want to play. That has maybe guns.
You can butcher your Pokemon and eat them.
You can butcher everybody, and you can make them work
people
and create slave labor again.
Slavery's coming back, 2024.
Pokemon. That's exactly what we've been wanting.
We've been playing Palworld. Everybody, you may have heard of it. If you haven't, you're probably living under a rock, or you're still playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. In which case, I'm sorry for you. But if nothing else, I want to tell you, we are here to tell you about Palworld, the game that's in early access that surprised the world by a company called Pocket Pair.
Pocket Pair.
Pocket Pair. They're a Japanese-based developer, and they released this Palworld game that looks an awful lot like Pokemon with guns, and maybe an awful lot like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And maybe a little bit of some Valheim with some survival mechanics and slavery. But all that to be said, it's totally fine in the world of pals.
Would hate this game.
Do what?
I said Abraham Lincoln would hate this game.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would. But that's okay, because now we're in the 21st century. 2024.
Yeah, because that solves all the problems.
It's 2024, and all these are little creatures. Okay, you know they're it's okay to put them to work because they
pocket pals.
They usually these little pals get happy. Okay, when we put them to work, they're happy about it until they're not, and then they get depressed and they get sad, and then you need to make them a freaking jacuzzi.
They get fractured,
and then they go to the jacuzzi, and then they're like, "I'm still not happy," and then they start causing mischief. So you throw them in a box like a genie in a bottle and just put them away.
Or you butcher them.
It doesn't matter. Or you butcher them. It doesn't matter.
And use their carcass as food for the rest.
And use their carcass as food. So all that to be said, what is Palworld, everybody? Let's talk about
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know now either. We went off we went off. I'm sorry.
It's a game you can play.
It's basically a Pokemon survival.
Yeah, it's a Pokemon survival game.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Aspects of Legend of Zelda, Pokemon.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Valheim.
I mean, that's just like and Valheim.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a survival game, but Valheim I feel like is the most
Pokemon.
close. Because I think with Valheim, you go and fight bosses, you chop down trees all the time, you build your structures and stuff, which all the games do that.
Yeah.
But like I feel like it feels like that's true. That's the word Breath of the Wild comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that climbing mechanic?
Well, it's the climbing mechanic. It's the weather mechanic. It's the
towers,
the towers, the noises. I mean, alone, so you have these
little
towers.
Jingles.
Yeah, little jingles. You have these towers that you go to face off with bosses or something like that, or you find a fast travel point. It sounds so much like Breath of the Wild. And I'm surprised Nintendo's not pissed about that. Just because of the style of that, because I feel Breath of the Wild from this, like constantly, your weapons breaking, you're crafting new weapons, the towers that you go to, the climbing and the heating and the cooking mechanics. I mean, everything in between. To me, it feels more of Breath of the Wild than Pokemon. My own opinion.
Yeah,
but that's neither here or there. Where are we going?
Probably because Pokemon stands out or their pals stand out so much as Pokemon.
Yeah,
that's probably the easiest thing to get them on.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's like you capture them in Pal spheres, kind of like Pokeballs. Yeah. You have 100 different monster creatures that are little tiny creatures you capture in balls. You send them back to your You have a Pokédex that's called a. I don't even know what it's called.
Paldex.
Paldex or Pal something or other.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
it's fine.
There's so many aspects to this that's basically like, yes, this is basically like a Pokemon clone. And even like the looks of it are similar. Like there's a lot of characters that are similar to the Pokemon, but there's been a lot of arguments about like, oh, this game shouldn't exist because it's copying them. And it's like, honestly, I feel like this is kind of like this is what you get kind of mentality.
This is what you get.
That's kind of how I feel about Pokemon.
So, needless to say, Nintendo's upset about this because the Pokemon look very similar to, or the pals look very similar to some Pokemon, and people have put side by side comparisons of some and many that actually look very like.
Some of them
you could tell.
I mean, there's like an EV replica in here for sure.
But people also claiming that possibly AI has generated some of these. What do you call
pals?
Them? Yeah, just like the design of them.
Yeah,
because you can do that. You can put stuff. There's generation like watch this one guy who takes 2 Pokemon and makes 16-bit renders of them, and he has AI do that, and then he goes and just looks at all of the first 100 and whatever Pokemon and just makes fun of like what they look like and how they were
interesting,
evolved. Yeah. Or I think it's the first and second generation.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, that stuff exists, so yeah, I'm sure Nintendo's like, well, we can stop this. Plus, it's taking away money from them.
Yeah,
because they haven't created anything like this.
Yeah,
they're idiots.
No,
I mean, again, it goes back to, I mean, this is what you should have done. They should have. They had plenty of time.
I mean, they didn't even what's so unique about this game is the survival aspect to it. And I think if Nintendo just brought that to the table, I think they would have, especially with their newer, what's the newer one?
Scarlet and Violet.
Scarlet and Violet. If they brought that into,
well, start with Arceus.
Yeah, that was first open.
If they brought something like that into that game, especially how well Breath of the Wild did with it. I mean, you didn't have to build anything in the first one, but there was that survival aspect to it. I think if they brought that into that game, it would have done better. But they didn't. It was just a open world. Same bullshit. You capture Pokemon, you go around and do all this other stuff. There wasn't that other itch to do something else.
Right.
This right here, Brett and I lost almost 9 hours just playing this game and designing our buildings and getting our pals to do stuff for us. And even that alone, getting your pals to craft stuff for you, to harvest stuff, it helps out so much. And it's fun.
Well, I feel like Nintendo is pigeonholed themselves into making, or Game Freak has pigeonholed themselves into making that Pokemon style. For one, they don't have to do much in the next iteration because most of it's just set in stone. They might have to build new systems to make better graphics and stuff, but other than that, and the way that Pokemon are treated, because they don't want anyone to get upset that it's oh, here are these really cute animals, and we don't eat them.
Yeah,
we just eat meat and stuff and things. Where does it come from? Nobody knows.
Yeah, this game doesn't care how you treat the animals. Yeah,
it's this is being more realistic on certain aspects of potentially how these animals would be used, because you need animals. We use animals in real life to make clothing and feed ourselves.
And but I don't use my animal to build me something.
Well, I mean, it's different. It's different. That's where the gameplay comes in. It's fantasy world. But yeah, it's Pokemon, people make go into theories of oh, where does this come from? Did people really eat Pokemon? And they go in and look at all the clues and make things happen. Anyway, they're trying to be this very kiddie, all around wholesome game, and I think they could have gone outside the box plenty of times in the past to try to I don't know, make it more realistic. I mean, it's a game. You can do whatever. Yeah, it's fine.
But once again, it's not even realistic. You're growing up with the people that loved it.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
It needs to advance with the people that really cared about Pokemon back in the day. I know we're referencing Pokemon again. We're supposed to be talking about Palworld, but back in the day, if Pokemon grew up with me as I went on through life and we got to this point, then they did great. But they kept it.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know how they would dabble into anything like this. Open world game, I think it would be exactly what they've created. Yeah. They wouldn't go into so much detail, because this takes a lot of thought and effort in trying to make lore behind everything you're doing, and they just don't want to spend that kind of money.
Well, that's
where they can. I mean, they sell 2 games of the same game with some different Pokemon here and there, and it's just they're making all the money. So why would they change that? And they got to the point where it's oh, someone's seen
now there's a competitor.
Lacking. Yeah,
yeah. Well, that's where I'm saying is just I think Pokemon should learn from this, and for their next game, you shouldn't introduce killing them. Killing the Pokemon,
right?
Or harvesting them or anything like that. I think they should introduce this survival aspect to it. And I think that would help out a lot.
See, I don't even know if I want the survival part of it. I just think I want them to do a proper open world exploration Pokemon capturing game, because Arceus tried to do that, but it wasn't fully open world, and it was really boring because all you would do is capture these Pokemon. Right. And you were basically a journalist that was logging all the stuff.
Yeah.
And then apparently in Scarlet and Violet, it is open world, but the problem was the game was super buggy and just didn't work well, and it stayed that way post launch. So this game came out and it's in early access, but it's it looks great.
Yeah,
and it runs well.
Yeah.
And doesn't really have many like fundamental issues. And this game runs better than freaking Cyberpunk did at launch. Like, it's kind of wild, you know, like it's kind of wild to see like how different that is. And it's got a lot of great ideas that like survival games that I've played in the past don't do well. And like, and these guys they've had several games they've got, like they have this, Craftopia game that they brought out that like has been in early access since it came out. Like they've never taken out of early access, which is a concern that people have. It's like, what are they going to do down the line? Like, will this game stay in, you know, early access hell for its eternity and not come out of it? But I think they have a really great foundation here in that they took a lot of ideas. I mean, it's not a generally new game at all. It just takes inspiration and kind of almost copies a lot of different games. But that's a lot of what creativity is like you mimic what's out there and enhance it or make it better.
Yeah.
And in this case, yes, the characters look a little bit too much like Pokemon, but it's still new and different and not the same concept and idea, because this is at its core a survival game. They're building up a base and trying to, and you capture and make stronger Pokemon or pals and stuff like that. But then Pokemon is all about, you know, fighting the freaking gym battles and stuff like that. This has gyms in it ish, but it's really more about the crafting and the exploration than it is like getting your badges and like completing it. So even the core concept's different.
Like with this game, I don't even know what the core mission is. It's just to survive, and like the survival aspect that you're talking about is very minute.
Yeah,
I hate survival games, but I love this game.
Yeah,
like it's very like it's a light survival game. It's just basics, you know.
Yeah,
and like if you get your Pokemon just to do some berries, they'll feed themselves. You know, you just don't have to worry about them. So I'm highly enjoying this game, and I'm very shocked that I am.
Yeah,
You know,
I was surprised to hear you say that.
Yeah, dude, like not just because of the shock factor that you can shoot Pokemon, you can capture people and use them as slaves and stuff like that. It's not even that. That wasn't the thing that like hooked me to it. It was everything else. It's a beautiful world.
Yeah.
The gameplay is very easy to get the hang of, and the survival aspect. And like once I jumped in and playing with Brett, like we were having a blast. And like I said, we just lose time just collecting things and having fun. And then every once in a while get raided by someone, which that's entertaining to do.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and just exploring the world itself is so unique and just
So I heard that
visually
this
beautiful.
This was this is one of those meme games, as people are putting it. Where it's like, you know,
it was a meme game.
right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like a lot of people look at these popular games and they create a game like it, very similar. There's plenty of Breath of the Wild clones out there at this point.
Oh yeah,
and so they consider this a meme game. But and usually these things like have some success to some degree that's not this, and then they just like, you know, they're out in the wilds, whatever. But this one has just grown significantly quick that I think it had to, like, Nintendo had to take notice of it.
So
And that is amazing to see in real time. Like,
So my question is, do you think it took off so well because it was the fans crying out to Nintendo saying, hey, this is what we wanted, you guys effed up? Or do you think it reached that high just because of the issues about killing people or killing Pokemon with guns and like capturing people? The awe factor.
I just think is the original thing of like, here's a world where you survive and build and craft, but you also have Pokemon-like creatures.
Yeah.
I think that on its own is probably what people were saying to each other.
Okay.
And it's like, whoa, that's, you know, I want to check that out. Because there's that one Pokemon game that came out. Temtem. And it was really fun. It was very much like, you know, what you would play on, or the newer versions of Pokemon.
And that game didn't get the same scrutiny this game is.
No, it
it's
didn't.
crazy. And it's even more of a clone.
Yeah. And I don't think, it just didn't take off like this did.
Yeah.
And what did they make? They grew, I
forgot about Temtem.
Yeah.
What's that other one that's coming out soon where you're like a kid and it's all imaginary, like and you're in a city and you have like little pals running around with you?
See, I thought that was this game.
No, it's not this one. That one's more kid friendly than this one.
I could have swore it was this one.
Nah.
And because I remember the big city.
Yeah, the big city,
And
you're
I
riding around
thought-
skateboarding. do little emotes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought maybe it changed because in my head that's what this game was. But
Because
you're
I just
right,
saw
it
an
is
advertisement
different.
for that one. It's kind of like Doki or something crap.
Here's Tim
yeah.
Tim. Tim Tim, which is literally the Pokemon clone of the current Pokemon games, or at least before the last one, before Arceus. And its all-time peak was 39, just about 40,000 players. And let's see, it was all-time. It's fallen dramatically because the current peak players now has only been 1,000.
Oh,
and
wow.
this game actually got really good reviews. People were enjoying it. I played it. I gave it good reviews. Obviously, it was early access, so it needed more time in the oven and stuff. And they're showing promise, but to see this is just phenomenal. And in 5 days, in 5 days, it got over 7 million sales, which is absolutely insane. It has topped the Steam charts. All-time peak was over 2 million. It's sitting at number 2 for all-time records.
And plus, they already have a roadmap for it too.
Well, I mean, it got such. This is the thing when there's a good game and people get behind it and everyone wants to try it. And this is just on Steam. It's not even Xbox, so it's free to play.
That's
on
a
Xbox.
wild thing. It's that we haven't even seen numbers for Xbox yet. They don't have that information, so it's we don't even know what it's really doing.
Right. So this is just phenomenal, and I think because this is just going to keep growing. That they have the money. Who would have thought that this would happen? So they have the money to go in there to hire new people and grow this game, and hopefully they have enough money to battle Nintendo at the same time because I know they're coming for them.
Yeah,
and we can get in all that and.
Dokev. That's what it
Dokev.
was.
That's what it was.
That's what I got these two confused. Honestly, I thought this was that game.
The other one was very kid friendly and
Oh, I know, but when I saw this, I was like, oh, it's kind of this. I thought it was this similar game that maybe it was just a different approach.
Yeah,
but
this one looks like that Squid Game.
Yeah, you're right.
Splatoon.
Splatoon.
Oh, Splatoon.
Yeah, Splatoon versus meets.
Yeah.
This is this even out?
No,
It's not out yet.
It's not out yet.
It looks really cool.
That one looks really cool. I want to play that one too. I mean, they're pals or whatever they're calling them. They don't look anything close to me like Pokemon characters. So I don't think Nintendo will go after them. And I think the only reason why Nintendo's going after them is just because it's basically the same concept, but they're doing it way better.
Right.
Well, I mean, I've seen the photos of people looking at an actual Pokemon compared to a PAL, and it's like, wow, there are
There's some very close similarities.
So I can see them going back and be like, we're changing this. It's going to look different now.
Yeah.
And then I mean, what's Nintendo going to do?
Yeah,
But
there's nothing
really,
they can. Yeah.
It's really going to be hard for them to find something, but I guarantee you that Nintendo will make a point to do something, anything, the smallest thing. To stick it to them, to be like, we don't like you. You're clogging up the space. And this game is actually putting pressure on Nintendo, in my opinion, to make something similar.
Yeah.
Why haven't you done this? Plus, the last games that came out just were so janky, and people complained about it, and they got horrible reviews.
Yeah.
Well, it's a sign that they need to kind of wake up and be like, I mean, the audience has reacted to this game, and I was actually pulling up numbers here. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in the first 3 days sold 10 million copies. Palworld sold 5 million. But as of right now, this game has been out for a month?
Yeah.
The total copies sold of Scarlet and Violet since it came out was 23.23 million, and Palworld's already at 19 million.
Oh, damn.
So it's going
right
to surpass
behind-
Scarlet and Violet
Yeah.
in less than 2 months.
Right.
It's like a little kid during Christmas, the grandmother gives them the Pokemon game. No, I want Palworld.
So funny.
I mean, it's great to see this because this doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A game like this, like a meme game, quote unquote, coming out and just toppling a giant of an industry leader.
I mean,
It's fantastic.
It's got such a fun loop in that it took away the things that I find frustrating in survival games, which is chopping down a shit ton of wood and stone all the time, wasting my ass. Freaking talking to Travis when he plays Valheim. I'm like, how the hell did you get so much stone? And he just did the worked his butt off to get it. And in this game, I can create a bunch of stone camps
Or have
and
stone next to you.
put pals on it,
Yeah.
and then they just work while I'm running around, and then I come back. I'm like, I got all. And then what's nice is like when you're in the base circle, no matter what box you got shit in, you can pull from that box and like build stuff with.
See, that's nice.
Yeah, so like I can go in there and I had like 10 boxes each with a bunch of stone everywhere because the pals put it in all kinds of random places. They don't put it where you want them to put it, but it's fine because like when you're building it, it's pulling it's sourcing from all those resources. And it just makes it so easy. And like, especially like even building stuff, I can go out, me and Jason can go out like hunting and I can set up like 50 arrows to be crafted. And by the time I get back, I got 50 arrows ready to go for my next adventure. I don't have to worry about sitting there waiting for it to happen.
It's a very fun game. And I think that's what, I think you're right. I think that's what takes away that survival aspect for me. It's just like getting away and not collecting that much. I mean, in the beginning, you got to collect a little bit, but once you get your like first 2 or 3 pals and you get a base set up pretty well, and you're like in a good area, shoot, man, begin it. Shoot.
And the building mechanics are pretty good. There's some little quirks with it, but I mean, you can build a base pretty easily.
Yeah.
I love all the synergies, like as you upgrade and stuff like that. I mean, they have electrical systems later on that you can use to like put electricity to your bases.
Yep.
And assembly lines for the making of weapons and things.
Turn it into a warehouse.
Build a whole factory. Yeah,
factory. That's what I'm going to say.
But like even down the line, like once we get further in the game, they're talking about they're going to address critical issues such as the date issue and the loading screen persisting. In ASAP, they're going to add key configuration improvements and improvements to base PAL AI and pathing, which has been a big problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've seen people like have their pals that are fire pals. Like catch their wooden base on fire.
See, that reason is why Nintendo's trying to take this down.
Yeah,
because everyone's calling them Pokemon.
Right. Oh yeah, and I get it. Yeah.
And they're like, we can't stand for this.
It's like the Kleenex problem, you know. It's like
every tissue Kleenex.
You call every tissue you call Kleenex because it's like that's what you know it. But in the future, they're looking at adding PvP, raid bosses such as in-game content, a PAL arena where you can have PvP for pals.
I want that.
Steam Xbox crossplay, server transfers and migrations, improvements to the building system, new islands, pals, boss, and technologies. And there's already a desert biome, there's a snow biome, and there's where we are right now. And there's like, I think 5 towers, which is like 5 bosses to fight. So
there's 4.
There might be 4. I don't know. 4 or 5, something like that.
4 total biomes.
Yeah, but I think there's 5 towers, but I could be wrong. Anyway, there's a bunch of different like locations and stuff like that. So there's a lot of content already. Yeah, Forest Volcano, that's what it was. Yeah. So
it will most definitely keep you extremely entertained, and like the crazy shit you could just randomly do in the game is just fun.
Yeah.
So
freaking love it. Palworld.
Yeah, awesome. I think so. Will it be nominated for Game of the Year?
Oh yeah.
Well, so that's what it comes down to.
It's such a hit success.
But then that begs the question: we haven't ever nominated an early access game before.
Well, it might be.
Well, okay, yeah, it might be in full access by
that's true. It might be
a year.
It's true. We don't know. We don't know.
Maybe. But would it be a conversation? You know, like in the past, we haven't really. I don't think we've done it, but
I don't think there's ever.
Would it be something we would do if it's not in full release yet?
I mean, it wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it being a thing, but
we'll be at the Game Awards.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. But Palworld is great. Everybody, if you haven't jumped into it, honestly, it's on Steam and Xbox. If you have Game Pass on PC, you can download it on PC, or if you have Game Pass on your Xbox, you can download it there. It is capped at 4 players in a server if you aren't using a dedicated server. So you can have up to 32 players if you have a dedicated server. Either you're playing in one or you like rent one or have a friend like host it. But otherwise, it's a 4-player game. And we ran into the issue where if we join in, it's like you have to use a shared base until you get to a certain level of your base. Yeah. And then you can have a second base. Yeah.
Allow you.
I think level 5 or 10.
Well,
or maybe it was 5.
It was 10.
It was 10, yeah. And 10. Then 15 is where you get to third base, I think.
Yep. Yeah. And they give you different tasks to like upgrade your base. You go to your like PAL box, is it? Yeah, your PAL box. Mm-hmm. And it'll give you like certain tasks like, build a fountain for your pals, or build this many beds for your pals, and that'll help you upgrade.
Which I also love that part of this game too, because that's another thing that Valheim didn't do is like until you found, or even Grounded, until you find an object, it doesn't tell you what to do. Like, so you have to kind of figure things like You have to find something to figure stuff out. But I like in this game, it's like every time you level, it's like, here's 3 things you need to make sure you build so you can kind of understand the progression in the game and like what you need to be doing next.
Yep.
And I appreciate that kind of little carrot on a stick
Yeah.
to play through. So,
And in order to unlock certain things, you have to be a certain like level, and then you get technology points that you put into those particular items that you can craft.
and if you kill bosses or unlock fast travel points, that gives you more technology points. So it's pretty sick.
And then you can upgrade your character as well and carry more stuff. You can like
not to mention there's mounts.
And mounts.
You can fly or ride.
Yep.
Animals, pals.
That's cool. I mean, I jumped into y'all's world and I was like, you already have mounts and flying mounts?
Dude,
Like,
I told you, Brett and I are hooked on this game. We were like, I lost track of time. We were playing it like the first night we were playing it. I stayed up till like 11:30.
Yeah.
I had work the next day, and I was just like, dude, I didn't realize what time it was. I need to go to bed.
That one Saturday, I think we played 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
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 We put some
I wanted
time
to
in.
put some time into
Sunday.
it,
Sunday. It was a Sunday.
Yeah, it was Sunday.
Oh,
I got sick
man.
again, but
Yeah.
That shit was
come in
good.
there and wreck shop with y'all.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
It's fun. I really enjoy it. So,
And
Palworld.
I mean, obviously, overwhelmingly positive. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's not even fully released yet. So
and then what's the cost of it on
knows?
Steam? Let me check on that.
I think it's like 13 or
I think it's 23 or something.
23, really?
I think so.
Yeah, which isn't, I mean, it's great.
I think-
yeah, $29.99.
29.
That's a pretty standard price for early access. I feel like
Yeah.
anywhere from 15 to 30 makes sense.
For some reason, I thought it was 15.
They said they may increase the price as well once they go to official release.
Yeah,
Good thing I have it on Xbox.
I know.
Well,
right?
I'm wondering too if they're gonna like
Oh, it might come
keep it
off.
on. Yeah, I don't know if it'll come off.
It's early access on Xbox.
Yeah, it's
it might
game
come off.
preview.
No,
Shit.
it being so successful, I can see Xbox working out a deal with them. To
Yeah,
keep it on
probably.
there for free.
Well, even if they don't, this is a game I would pay for.
Yeah, true.
Like I will pay full
Yeah.
price, $70, like right out the back.
I'm just
Because it's
concerned.
good.
Well, hopefully they'll have the Steam Xbox cross compatibility thing because, like,
Yeah.
my biggest fear is the game comes out, they don't have it on Xbox, where you want to buy it, then you buy it on Steam, and it doesn't carry over. And you're like,
fuck. No, they have to.
yeah, they'll figure it out by then. So, Palworld, everybody, it's Pokemon with guns, and it's a lot of fun.
Palworld,
And
catch you,
I highly recommend jumping in this
Palomon.
game. It's one of my favorite games so far of the year, so
Yeah.
highly recommend.